it's there's so many of them available in the market.
Yeah.
Correct, you're 100% correct. And you're right, some of these franchises have become kind of a trend or cool and everyone want to buy them and the price goes really extremely high. But there's another thing as well, when we're talking, I mentioned about marketing, franchises, they never admit that, but then you pay, let's say, a percentage, and that percentage can go anything between 5 to 15% of your top line, of your revenue to do your marketing. But reality is...
All right, welcome to the Auckland Investment Club, and we've got Ali here. He's a friend of mine, business partner as well, and a financial advisor, and I'd like to get him to talk a little bit about his experience as a business owner to help you with your own investment and kind of decision making when it comes to getting into business.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, that's good to spend time with you. So, now describe yourself. You're an advisor, you're a coach, you're an investor, you're a family man, but you've been doing this journey in New Zealand a long time.
Yeah, well, start with just a normal man, a human.
A normal man, yeah.
A human who makes mistakes and looking for opportunities to improve every day. But yeah, I moved to New Zealand when I was quite young, and I started from the bottom. I finished accounting in the Middle East and I came here, but the first thing is the Middle East is tax-free. So accounting, it's about everything other than tax.
Do a course in a weekend.
Yeah. Then coming here, so obviously I couldn't practice straight away, but I've got a family and I needed to work. So I worked my way up from being a night filler to a business owner in 3 years.
Yep.
And I bought a franchise. That was my first thing. And I had 3 video stores back in the day, the good old days. That just kind of shows my age. But for the people who don't know what's a video store, back in the day we used to go to a physical store to rent a movie. You can't log in to watch the movie. Good old days. And you buy your popcorn with it. It was an awesome experience. Loved it. 3 video stores, without mentioning but it's one of the franchises was back then.
I don't even know. Are they still around?
No.
Yes.
Oh yeah, true.
So what are they going to do? Come after?
True. Civic Video. So back in the day, we used to be Video Easy, United Video, Blockbuster, and Civic Video. So it was Civic Video, and yeah, I had a couple of stores, about to open a third when things start going south.
So what happens? You got to buy in the beginning and pay them money up front, or they just basically vet you as an owner and then they get a percentage, or how does it work?
So it's quite hard. You go for a series of interviews. So you're applying for a job, and when they think you fit for their own brand, they sell you the franchise. So what you do is if you're buying an existing franchise, basically you're buying a business as an ongoing concern.
Yeah.
But then yes, you still have to pay what we call it a territory fee. So basically to own a territory, physical territory bound by street addresses.
Yep.
And this is the area you can market on. And then from there, you pay 2 different fees. One is a franchise fee, which is basically allows you to trade under that name. And the second one is a marketing fee, because you don't do any marketing. They do all the marketing for you. That being said, the marketing, they do it for you. It's never enough. So they have something called a local marketing, and that has to come off your own budget. And the inside, what they provide you with, let's say, guidance, is basically they're encouraging you to spend a lot more on your own local marketing. Yeah. That was a journey of 11 years with Civic Video, with the highs and lows of video stores. And then I think at year 9, I've realized this is a dead end, as I can see the internet coming and the technology is changing the whole landscape of how do you watch a movie.
Lots of DVDs by then?
Oh, yeah. I actually, when I took over my very first store, we were in the process of replacing VHS to DVD. So that was one. And then from there, we replaced DVD to Blu-ray. And then we closed down after that. So I can see the writing on the wall. So I actually start looking at getting myself into something else that technology won't affect. And I thought, food. We're always going to eat. So my next venture was another franchise, that still exists. So we're not going to talk about them, but I can say what the franchise was. It's a Burger Fuel. And so for 2 years, I had Burger Fuel and Civic together. And then until the Civic closed one store and I sold the second store back to the franchisor. And I operated Burger Fuel for 4 years. And then after that, I sold Burger Fuel and I became a financial advisor.
pros and cons of buying a franchise, because there'll be a lot of people thinking about that at the moment.
Yeah,
Unemployment rate is going up. There's plenty of people around that they will have a bit of money, but equity, and they'll be thinking, okay, if I can't get the job I want, maybe I should buy a business. And maybe I don't understand that much about business, so I should buy a franchise.
Yeah.
You know, there's pros and cons.
Yeah, believe it or not, Andrew told me we were doing this podcast about 2 days ago because I was on holiday. And when I came back from holiday, and Andrew said we're going to do a podcast. So I anticipated this question, and I had a really long, complicated answer until not last night, the night before. I'm staying at my sister's place, and my nephew's new partner walked in at 9 p.m. and she gave us a cake mix from the caker as like a gift. Hey, you guys should try this. It's amazing. And that box had all the instruction just how to make this cake within half an hour.
Yeah.
And it hit me. This is the best way to describe that. So basically, if you are a great baker, you will look at that box and you go, this is rubbish. I'm not doing this. I'm going to do things from scratch, and probably your cake will taste amazing. Yeah. But if you're like me, who knows nothing about baking, me adventuring and try to do my own cake probably end up in a disaster and maybe a 111 call.
Take a lot longer.
Versus that box, I can make the cake and it's yum. But obviously, it's not as yum as the baker. So this is what's franchise. Franchise is a blueprint for something that's been tested. So you don't have to be experienced in that area or understanding or have limited business experience. So you're just being on an employee for a long time and you want to venture into the business. Probably franchise would be, it's like that box. Allows you to make this cake without have any knowledge of baking. Yet, is that cake is an award-winning cake or is it like a wow cake? No. But it's eatable. So that being said, I think a lot of people make this mistake is you still need to have a basic business knowledge, because you will start running a business and you will have to understand what that means.
Yeah, I mean, there's sales, there's marketing, there's managing contracts with the rent and insurance.
Managing people, which is one of the hardest.
Managing people, I would imagine, is all things held equal, the hardest.
Yeah. And able to read financial reports. What do all these numbers means? So you still need to have a basic understanding of all of these before like venturing into the franchise. That being said, as a franchise sometimes can work like buying your own job. So a lot of people buy a franchise and they think they own a business. But reality, especially with a small one, reality, you just bought your own job because you understand what's a business. Businesses, you don't have to wake up every day and go to that place. Otherwise, you don't have a turnover. That's when it's kind of start becoming a business. But if it's relying on you going every day and you can't take any time off, you just got a job. You just bought your own job.
Yeah, you paid money up front for a job, and sometimes these franchises are very hard to exit from as well.
That's a whole different experience. We don't want to talk about that. But yes, it's very hard because you're bound by the franchisor. So it sounds like it's your own business, but it's not.
Yeah, I've certainly seen anecdotally some of these fitness franchise groups, for example. They launch with a lot of fanfare. They have a lot of momentum in the beginning because it's a fad, and they might even list on New York Stock Exchange or something like that, and the valuation just skyrockets, and people get in, they spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 buying franchises for territories, and then as the years tick along, the fad kind of wanes, but the debt obligation and the franchise fees are still there.
Correct.
And the size of that kind of franchisee operation dips below where it becomes worth the owner's time or the franchisee's time. And then you've got decisions to make. Because it's not big enough to sustain what you need it to sustain, then you have to buy 2 or 3 or 7 of them to kind of get what you need, or you have to exit.
Correct.
And the trouble I've seen is people are all trying to exit these franchisees at the same time.
Exactly, and that's
what that means. Video probably as well. They're all trying to exit
and you know what
at the
that
same
means.
time.
That's destroy the price of the franchise because it's there's so many of them available in the market.
Yeah.
Correct. You're 100% correct. And you're right. Some of these franchises have become kind of a trend or cool, and everyone want to buy them, and the price goes really extremely high. But there's another thing as well. When we're talking, I mentioned about marketing, franchises, they never admit that, but then you pay, let's say, a percentage, and that percentage can go anything between 5 to 15% of your top line of your revenue to do your marketing. But reality is, as a reflection, looking back, and I'm going to talk about the video store because obviously they don't exist, so we avoid...
You're safe.
We avoid burger fuel. The reflection on Civic Video, whatever the percentage they were taking, I can't remember exactly, I think it was 5% at that time. They're spending it a lot on branding because that's actually what they're promoting. They're promoting the brand so they can get more franchisors because they are a business. So the franchisor, it's actually an entity. It's a business running a business, and their business is selling franchise.
Yeah.
So if their business wasn't selling DVDs. Their business is selling the Civic name.
If there was a lot of money renting DVDs, then they would own the stores themselves.
Exactly.
Right? They decided that their business model was selling people on the idea of
correct.
owning your own video
Correct.
store. Yeah.
And the problem with that, you're paying 5% of your top line to fund someone else's business. And that's why they encourage that local marketing, because the local marketing, which is coming from your own money again, from your bottom line, from your profit, it's actually what's going to fuel your sales. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they think like they don't need to do any local marketing, and they end up dying as a business, or they ending up like when you look at the franchise model, it shows there is a huge margin in it and a high net profit, but it's actually there isn't, because you're going to still have to use a lot of this money to do your local marketing.
Well, yeah, and the net profit needs to be adjusted for the time that you've got to spend in there, right? Because that's a big opportunity cost. And
correct.
I'm guessing a lot of these franchise operations, the financials that are provided, created in a way that shows owners' remuneration as if they're working full time in the operation. So it might be a $1 million business in terms of revenue, has 200,000 of owners' remuneration, but it's expecting
to be working full time. 100%.
And if you put somebody into that job position, there might only be like 20, 30 grand a year left from that operation. And if you're paying...
Correct. And sometimes they don't even, they're actually not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And that's a breach of a franchise agreement.
Yeah.
So you suddenly realize you have to do this job full time, at least for the first year.
Yeah. And so the colorful presentations... don't get sucked in, I guess, is the main advice. I've seen, I would imagine a lot of people that are buying franchise businesses are not, that they don't feel confident with the financial side of things. And if they are confident assessing financials, it might be like a fool's confidence. There's an overconfidence. And
correct.
If you're getting referred to an accountant by the franchise group, that accountant probably is in on the agreement in some way. Yeah. And same with lawyers. Certainly be recommending getting kind of outside professional advice.
Correct. Just again, back from my own experience with Civic Video, they used to tell you if you're buying a brand new, so it means it does not exist, you build, they do it for you.
Yeah.
They tell you the projection of your income and profit. So you look at it, you go, oh, great, I'm going to open a store, going to make $1 million, top line, 200K in my pocket. But then in the small print, it does say this is not a guaranteed, and there's nothing to hold us. We can't guarantee it. It's all based on your performance. So you might spend all the money and then flops. Nothing comes in. Yeah. So again, probably if you want some advice on that, probably buying an existing franchise, it's a lot less risky, because at least that's an existing business, and instead of you going by a projection, actually you're seeing in actual numbers, and you can go hey, look, I can improve on this because I can see some sloppy operation or so on. So that's a good advice, try to an existing. But always ask a question. If it's so good and so profitable, why are they selling it?
Yeah. I certainly, if I was going to be buying a franchise, I would be looking to the franchisor group to see how many of the individual businesses they own and they operate as operators themselves.
Yeah.
If they have 20 different locations and 5 are operated by the main business group, then that's great. They understand, the troubles that the other franchise owners are going through. They understand how to ramp up store sales and how to attract attention, and
Correct.
they understand the HR challenges. But if they are owning those franchise business units because they can't sell them to anyone else, and the business of the franchise is to sell franchise businesses.
Well, that's not a good indication. But I mean, like, it's not all doom and gloom. Like I said, if you're not a baker and you want to make a cake, that box was amazing. By the way, cake, I love your cake. So if you're hearing us, it's actually awesome cake. But especially because I made it. So, and it tasted like this, you must do some great work, Keika, if you are listening. But the point is in here is like a franchise is just like a business in the box with an instruction at the back.
Yeah.
I still needed to be able to read and operate the oven. Yeah. So you still need to have a basic understanding of business. And I guess
there's a lot of
the biggest
enjoyment.
problem.
Running a business can be a lot more enjoyable.
And it's got that element of freedom. Like you feel free as well a little bit until you feel like it's worse, because an employee can ring in sick where you own your business, even when you're extremely sick, you still go. Yeah. But hey, look, it's not all bad. But my point is, like, don't just be like starstruck. Oh my God, this is amazing. Don't believe every number, because most of these numbers are projections. So, and it's always in real life, always worse. And you need to understand, when you buy a franchise, you're in for a long hours, and you need to upskill yourself in a lot of different areas. Yeah. Like, you need to upskill yourself on all these areas we mentioned at the start of this, is like dealing with people, reading reports, management, sales. It's probably one of the most important. So it's not a silver bullet. It means it could be a really good start. Like an example, if you say, hey, Ali, do you regret buying into 2 franchises? No, absolutely not. Would you buy another franchise? No, absolutely not. But I learned from owning 2 franchises, and it helped me to be where I am now.
Yeah. And so how has it shaped your investment goals and philosophies? Well,
change it completely, and made me think, why would I want to be a franchisee? I should be a franchisor.
You've seen the model from the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you learn, but you can't start being a franchisor. You got to start somewhere. So you understand, but it teaches you as well, teaches you the fundamental of business, which is the franchise. It was, once upon a time, a very successful business who recorded everything and said, hold on a second, I can create an operation manual and basically get anyone be able to bake that cake.
Yeah, I mean, you can be more assured that if it is a franchise business, that they have figured out a lot of the problems up front.
Exactly.
And if you have a problem, then they will have a solution. And if they don't, then they'll help solve it. So,
and that's probably the most important thing, like, because a lot of people jumped on selling franchise and becoming a franchisor without doing that. Yeah. And then you end up buying a bad franchise. Yeah. But you need to do your homework, basically.
All right. Well, if people want to talk to you about franchises or business investments, I'm sure they can reach out.
Oh, absolutely. Reach out. We'll have a yarn. Hey, look, obviously I love business and I love talking to people. So that's easy as, no problem.
Yeah. This journey of financial advisory, you stepped away from business ownership, you became a financial advisor, and then you left that original firm, started your own business. Now you're a business owner. How was being a business owner previously shaped how you give financial advice?
A lot, because I feel like I understand their struggle. Because sometimes financial advisors, like, when they give advice, they think money grows on trees. It's like, mate, you're going to make the buck before you spend the buck. So, and strategy is important. And I understand when people make illogical decisions.
Yeah.
But because real life is very different from spreadsheets and numbers. So made me, I call it a human advice than a financial advice, because you've been on the other side. You understand the struggle. Yeah. So it did help me a lot. And obviously, with all honesty, like, we're not making, I got into financial advice by accident, by just who through people, and I enjoyed it, because I think this is the area which is we in New Zealand extremely lack from an education perspective. No one understand how money works, but yet everyone want to make more money or be better with money. It's a kind of taboo subject as well. You don't go between your friends and you go, how much do you earn? How much do you keep? What do you do with your money? Actually, you should, because you want to help. And then you want to be inspired. You see one of your mates doing so well, but they are so close, they will never tell you. So that's what's actually sparked me being part of wealthhq, mortgagehq, is because we more like talk about education more than anything else than advice, because I can give you one advice and then what? I don't want to give you the fish, mate. I want to teach you how to be a good fisherman.
Yeah, cool, man. All right, well, until next time, we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks.